Hi there. So if you're just starting out on bass, you're very new to the instrument, you've maybe just got a bass, you're just picking it up, thinking about getting some lessons. But one of the best ways to start really is to start to learn some notes, where they are, because that unlocks so many things. If you want to get out, jam with other people, join a band, follow along with a guitar player perhaps who's maybe calling out some chords, you want to be able to sort of quickly find those on the bass and be able to play them, at least the root notes and just the real basics. So what we're going to cover in this lesson is learning your natural notes. That's the musical alphabet, sort of A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Those 7 natural notes, so not sharps and flats, and just learning where those notes are in the first position of the bass, which is here. Okay, this on the neck, the open strings, these up to fret 5 here. Okay, we're going to find all of those on the 4 strings in the first position. Best way to do that is actually to learn your first scale, which in this case is going to be C major. Okay, because C major is the only scale that uses all of the natural notes, so C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and back to C. Okay, there are other scales that use natural notes. The relative is what's called the relative minor, for example, which is A minor of C major, and we'll come to learn all of that. But for now, it's C major we're going to learn. Okay, and we're going to play it across all 4 strings. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to start on C here, and I'll just play it once through, and then I'll break it down. We're going to go like this. Then we're going to go back down. Back to where we started. So what we've done there is actually play it through 2 octaves. And why we've done that is because it allows us to use the full range of the bass in this first position. So from the open E string here up to the 5th fret on the G string here. So you can hear those different pitches. And we're using C as the best way to do that. So let me break that down for you. So we'll ascend first, and then we'll come back down. So we're going to start off on the 3rd fret on the 2nd string. So the 2nd string here is the A string, the 2nd thicker string, second one from the top. And on the 3rd fret here, the first dot, or maybe you've got a block on your bass, but it's a dot on this one. If you press here, the first finger, that's a C. Okay. C appears elsewhere on the bass, but for now we've got 2 C's in this first position. This one here, and where we're going to end up here, which is the octave of it, which we'll come to. So you're going to start on C, the first finger. Then depending on how independent you already are with your fingers, you might want to use your 4th finger or your 3rd finger to play the next note, or if you can't do that yet, just play it with the first finger. We're going to go C to D being the next note, which is here, the 5th fret on the A string. I'm using my little finger for that, so I'm going C to D. Okay, that's the 2nd interval of the scale. So the scale has 7 intervals, or 8 intervals if you count the octave. So that first one, C to D. Then we're going to drop down to the low E string, okay, at that point, because we'll come to the end of the first position, and we want to go down because we want to use the full range. We're going to C, D, and now we're going to go to open E. To just play that open, now that ring out. Okay, so C, D, E. Those are your first 3 notes of the scale. Now we're going to go to the 4th note of the scale, which is F. Okay. So F is here, it's the 1st fret on the E string. Okay, now some of these you're going 1 fret to the next one, some you're skipping a fret. That's because some notes have what's called an accidental, a sharp or a flat between them. We'll cover that later. For now, we're just going to do the naturals, the C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So to recap, C, D, E, F. Okay, and then we're going to go to the 5th of the scale, which is G. That's the 3rd fret here, so above the C on the thicker string, the E string. G, so C, D, E, F, G. That's what you've done. Then we're going to go open A string. Just play that open like that, which is the A. Then we're going to go to the B, which is the 2nd fret on the A string, which is here. That's the 7th note of the scale. Then we're going to go back to the C, 3rd fret. Okay, so what we've done, we've gone through the first half of this ascending exercise at the moment. So we've gone C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. That is the C major scale you've just played there. Now we're going to go up because we need to get to this octave position here. And rather than go back to the D here, that's the next note, we're actually this time going to use the D open string. Same note, you see. I'm going to play the two together. So we've gone C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. This time then for the D we're going to go open D string. Then we're going to go to the E here, which is the 2nd fret on the D string. And again, play with whichever finger you feel comfortable with at the moment. I'll play with my 1st finger here. Then we're going to go to the F, which is the 3rd fret here on the D string. Then we're going to go to the open G string next, which is the 4th string, the thinner string, to play the G. Then we're going to go to the 2nd fret on the G string, which is the A. Then we're going to go to the B, which is the 7th note of the scale, which is the 4th fret on the G string here. And then we're going to arrive back at our octave, which is C. You can hear how that resolves. It sounds like it's home, it's landed back in the right place. Okay, so what we've done, because that was quite a lot there, to recap, is we've gone C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And then, when we've gone back to that C, we've gone up to the D, here, open string, E, F, G, open string, A, B, C. Okay, so put that together. And if you want, you can try and keep your hands from moving too much. You can sort of start to use at least your 1st, 4th and maybe 3rd finger. So if you're feeling more comfortable doing that, so you can go, so that's 1, 4 to the C to the D, then play the E open, then you can do 1, 4 again here, F, G, then you can go A, B, C. I tend to do that with the first 2 fingers, then the D, E, F with the first 2 fingers, then the G, A, B, C I'm doing with open, and then I'm doing 1st on the A, 3rd on the B, 4th on the C. Different ways you can do it, but you know, if you can start to use other fingers more than one at this stage, that's great, because it really gets you you know, opening up your hands. I'm also on the right hand, I'm playing with my fingers here rather than a pick. I'm alternating between the first 2 fingers, first finger, middle finger here. Just going, so if I do the C to the D, I'm playing the C with the 1st finger, the D with the 2nd finger. Again, you might want to just start with 1 finger, or if you're using a pick, you can do it that way. It doesn't matter. So that's ascending, where it's got us to. And again, do that in your own time. You know, slow it down, take your time over it, get the notes sounding really nice and clean, because that's really important. And the way to do that is you're fretting up against the actual fret line here. Okay, so rather than kind of playing in the middle of the fret or back here, you won't get a nice sound. You want to play up against, you know, the fleshy part of your finger here. You want to have up against the fret, the line here, not on it, just back from it a bit, playing into it, because then you get a nice clean note. Okay, so get that under your fingers, spend a little bit of time with that. We'll now move on to the descending part. There's no new notes to learn here, no new fret positions, it's just backwards. Okay, so we start from where we finished off, which is the 5th fret on the G string on the C. Then we're going to go back down to the B, descend, and again I'm using my 3rd finger for that, then down to the A, here on the 2nd fret on the G string, then we're going to go open G, then we're going to go to the F, 3rd fret on the D string, then we're going to go to the D, 2nd fret on the D string, sorry, the E that was, not D, 2nd fret on the D string, then we're going to go open D, then we're going to go back to the C. Then we'll drop down to the B here, 2nd fret on the A string, then open A string. Then we're going to go down to the G, 3rd fret on the E string, F, 1st fret on the E string, then the open E string. 5th fret on the A string, and then back to the C, which is how we get back to the beginning, which is the 3rd fret on the A string again. I'm mentioning the fret note names, in terms of the number, but also the note at the same time to get you really familiar, because you really want to understand and ultimately move away from fret 3, fret 5 to just the notes themselves. So that's always a C, that's always a D, it's always an E, and so forth. So that it just becomes muscle memory, it becomes sort of ingrained. So when somebody says to you, hey, can we play something in C? It's going to go C, F, G, that's the chord progression. You then instantly know, okay, that's C, F, and G. You just know where those notes are. That's what you want. That's how you can get jamming and playing with other people. Okay, so look, thanks for sitting through that. Hope it helps and sort of sinks in for you. But as I say, slow it down, spend some time with it, get it sitting well under your fingers. Try it if whatever works for you. If it's easier to do it this way, one finger, just do that. If you can already start to introduce other fingers, then great. That just helps as well. And this is a nice, even if you're a slightly more advanced player, this is a really nice warm-up exercise, right? If you're picking up your bass for the first time in the day, or you haven't sat with it for a while, just sitting down, I often do this myself, just sit down and play some really simple basic stuff, and it just helps get your fingers warmed up a little bit, your hands relaxed and moving. And particularly on your right hand here, or if you're a left-handed player, your left hand plucking. But I'm a right-handed player, so I play mostly finger-style. I do pick and other things as well, depending on what music I'm playing, but predominantly it's finger-style, and I use my first and second finger alternating most of the time. And it's quite nice to just do it slowly, get the fingers working, built up. Never try and do it fast. It's, speed comes later when you've spent time with it and got warmed up and you're very familiar with it, but always start slow. Okay, thanks very much.